Okay, joined by Chairman Danny Hunter. Danny, it's been a while since we last sat down and had an interview and an update. Obviously, since then, it was confirmed our relegation to the National League South. Obviously, it was a hard day for yourself and the club. How have you responded to that, and how are you looking forward now?
It takes a while, I think, to process those type of days and the reasons we got there. But it's again, you can't look back in anger now. You've got to look forward and get on with things. Do we have regrets? Of course we do. But we're relegated now, so we go back into the Conference South or the National League South, a much stronger club than we left it, and so it's my job to make sure we rally, make sure the structures are fine, make sure we're respectful, hard working, and we go into the division with one intention, to get promotion, and to do that, as I say, we must be humble, respectful, hard working, because it's going to be a tough division to get out of.
A big talking point in the fan base will be looking for a new manager. Can you provide us with an update on that, on the processes that you've gone through, and when one can be announced?
Yeah, we've gone through a process. We had over 60 applicants. We had about 150 of the football manager type applicants that have taken Boreham to the Champions League, etc. But we quickly got that down to a group of 5 who we interviewed and spoke to, and that was to be fair, I learnt an awful lot. I hadn't actually interviewed a manager. I've always tended to promote from within since 2004, so that's 20 years in that time, whether it's phones, iPads, presentations, analysis, all manner of things have come into football at our level. Agents, advisors, intermediaries. So it was a very different process for me, and I learnt a lot. And of the 5, perhaps the person I thought might be favourite, it just seemed to me there was a lot of noise around certain things. The 5 that we spoke to, all very, very good in their own ways. Some perhaps had other commitments outside of football, which would have made it quite difficult for them to give this club 100% of their attention, and I think for some they were surprised by the size of the club's infrastructure and that behind the scenes. But we narrowed it to 2. We've gone through that process, and it's quite strange you've asked for this interview today, because we will announce the new manager tomorrow. I'm a great believer that, I know people say we're in the points business, but I think we're in the people business. And it was important that we got the right people in the right areas, the right foundations, the right structures, whether that's the analysts, whether that's the kit people, the medical staff, the coaches, the assistant manager, and of course, most importantly, the manager. And it's been a process that's been meticulous. I've worked closely with my sporting director, Charlie Hunter, and as I say, I've learnt an awful lot, which I didn't think I would. I'm coming up now 62, but you're never too old to learn, etc., on how people see things. I feel that we need to maybe change direction a little bit. There's no point me saying I'm looking for the next Luke Garrard. I'm looking for the next title, the next manager that's going to take us to a title or take us to promotion. I want to play a brand of football here that the supporters will enjoy. And those were things that were paramount in our thinking. And as I say, it's been a good process working with Charlie. It's been a great process speaking with the managers. I can't thank the 5 that we've interviewed enough for giving us their time. And in the end, I've gone with our gut instincts on what we best feel is best for the club collectively. Also knowing that other people have business commitments and other commitments outside of football, whether it's children, etc., that maybe make them just not quite the right candidate at this time.
Thank you, Dan. Well, you mentioned in that last question the infrastructure of the club and how we've grown off the pitch. Obviously, it's been a long time since you were last in the National League South. When you look at the club now, do you take a lot of confidence going into the next division when you see how far you've come?
I think you've got to. I think, I promised the supporters at the end of the season that, I'm not going anywhere. I'm as committed now to putting this club back where I think it should be. But that takes time, and as I say, we've got to respect this league. We've got to be humble and hard-working. But we'll have the budget, we'll have the facilities, the infrastructure. We're remaining full-time. We've got a fantastic base of a squad. Our recruitment is at full tilt. I'm going to spend money. Off the field, our ambitions to become an EFL club won't change. We're meeting councillors, we're meeting people to complete the south end of the ground. I mean, I'm running out of years, so I've got to get a move on with that. We've got new scoreboards going in. We've got all the summer works happening. So it's an exciting time. Am I nervous? Am I worried? Of course I am. I mean, I haven't changed. I've had 2 managers in 17 years. Every time a manager has a bad spell, I don't change managers. I mean, there's some national clubs that have had sort of 10 managers in 6 years or whatever it is. So relegations, did it hit me hard? Yeah, of course it did. It's an emotional time. I felt like I'd let the whole town down. I'm still a little bit emotional with it now. This has been my town all my days. It's where I was brought up. We went to school here, we did that, and to feel that you've let everybody down is a burden. But let's bring them back up. Let's go and win the title. Let's not look to sit on the back of the bus. It's not how I see life. And so I expect us to be one of the favourites. I expect us to be in contention. I expect us to be at the forefront in recruitment. I mean, all our structures are in place. Everybody wants to stay. So whether that's our medical side, our kit staff, our analysts, everybody in key areas, our strength and conditioning coaches or coach. So I'm very, very excited on that side of it. The loyalty from the staff is always unquestionable. They're an incredible group of people. And as I say, this club's about people. And if we look after the people and get those things right, the points will take care of themselves.
And another big talking point down in the fan base, obviously season tickets. They've gone live now on sale. Can you just talk us through some of the discussions that you had and also some of the initiatives you've brought in to the season tickets this year?
I had long talks with certain supporters. I had talks with Grant Morris, who's our fans liaison officer, and Loretta Brown, who runs the ticketing office, and so it was important. I felt, having spoken to them, that the age groups were firstly dealt with. There was things they wanted to discuss with me. Things like the over 70s and the under 5s and all these other things. So the over 70s are quite important to me personally. And again, when you're dealing with Grant and Loretta, some things I agree with and some things I don't. You're not going to get free football. So everyone out there, whether it's Craig Payne, if he's listening, he's a mad Arsenal supporter. And they'll pay 1,800 quid or 1,500 quid for their season ticket up there. And I know people say, well, we want a season ticket for 150 quid and we want it like it used to be. We can do that. And if that's what our support base wants, I can do that. That's not an issue. But to have it as we used to, we have to go back to Tuesday night, Thursday night football or training. And we have to go back to part-time, which will save me 800,000. So I'm sure my kids and grandkids and people, I can have a fag on and sit on a beach in the Caribbean. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to put the club in the Football League. And when I took this club over, it was a shambles. You know, we had an asbestos shed running along the west side. That's now a Great West Stand. We didn't have a North Bank. You know, the East Stand wasn't anywhere near like it looks now. You know, in that time we've built the glass house, the changing rooms, the offices. You know, we've gone and, we've gone and dealt with all the council's contaminated land and built the car parks and new entrance roads, and we've built Ricos and we've built Oscars and all manner of things to make us stronger. The reason we go back into this league stronger, it's not like in 2004 when you're dropping back in and you've still got to build all that. It's built, you know. And again, I want to concentrate on the south end of the ground. I want to concentrate, you know, on giving the supporters a successful season. I want them to see an attacking brand of football. And I feel that the season ticket, I mean, they forget I've got 5 sons and 15 grandchildren. They all live around Meadow Park. You know, if I take my grandchildren to the cinema, you know, you're dropping 70, 80 quid. By the time you pay for your tickets and all their sweets and all the other crap that goes with it, where can you go if you buy a season ticket, you know, for that type of money for 3 or 4 hours? You know, you've got a nice facility to have a drink in. And all the other little bit initiatives were, you know, like for some of our older supporters who like a pint, they're going to get 10% off of their glass house costs. People who want to have a party, they get 10% off of that. Club shop, away travel. So I tried to make it. It sounded like it was a mini budget, didn't it? You know, but more like a Labour budget, where we tried to cater for everybody. Anyway, I've done my best. You don't get a free lunch in this world. But again, if you look at the prices, and those who say, well, I'm not paying it, I totally agree. You know, it's your money, do with it as you wish. But at the same time, you know, I can't be all things to all people. You know, if we want to be full-time, if we want to be challenging, if we want to, you know, actually think of ourselves as a big club, then we are where we are. We might have sold 50, 100 season tickets. Chesterfield have just sold over 5,000 and took 2 million. You know, so we have to also balance where we are and how we're going to do things. And I've already said I'm going to drop a nice few bob to put us back in the National League. But there's no given in football, as you know. You know, I looked at who got relegated out the South this year, and there's a lot of clubs I know and I knew well. Havant and Waterlooville were National League club not that long ago. Dartford, again the same. Dover, again the same. So there's no God-given right for us to go and win this league or challenge. That has to come from within, and that comes from investment, recruitment. But we mustn't stop building off the park and get ready for the, you know, because the sun will shine again on us, that's for sure. And when it does, we'll be ready.
Yeah. In relation to season tickets, we can swiftly move on to pre-season. Three more games. 3 games have been announced: Brentford, Arsenal, and Chelsea. You must be happy to be able to have these clubs coming back to Meadow Park this summer.
It's 25 years of hard work. You know, my relationships in football go all the way to the FA, all the way across football, and old friends look after you. As I say, you know, whether we're dealing with Chelsea or we're dealing with our partners at Arsenal or Cliff Crown and the gang at Brentford. But there's another 2 to be announced yet. We can't announce that yet, but we've got a big EFL club coming as well, a local club. But we can't announce that one yet, and then so there'll probably be 5 at home, and again, yeah, they're good. These are good competitive games as well for ourselves. It'll give the new manager and his team and his backroom staff the chance to assess what he's got, and as we know, it's recruitment time, so we'll see where we go with it. But yeah, I'm very happy.
Another thing, Dan, that was announced today is Arsenal women. Obviously, you've mentioned the partnerships that you've built here. They've announced that they'll be playing more games at the Emirates this season. I'm sure fans are probably curious if that means there's anything going on there or something that you were aware of. Can you just give us an update on that?
Yeah, no, it's something that I've always been aware of. We have a close relationship. There'll be news coming soon of a new 10-year partnership with both Arsenal women and the Arsenal development. Again, you have to understand these are wish lists, and of course there can be fixture clashes, as you can imagine. Mikel and Arsenal will be in the Champions League next year. Arsenal have got to get out of their qualifying group in Europe. We may be hosting the qualifying groups here in September. Lots of stuff which we're talking about. There'll be increases in development games here. You've got to understand we deal with the FA Youth Cups, we deal with the development, we deal with Arsenal women in the Continental Cup, the FA Cup, etc. But we also got to accept the growth of the women's game, and we've been part of that for 25 years. I've been a pioneer of it, so, go and have a look at the semi-finals and the finals that Arsenal have won. They won the European Cup here, that didn't happen at Wembley. It didn't happen at the Emirates or Highbury as it was back then. It happened here, and so our partnership's really, really strong. But again, with any business or with anything, you've got to be fluid. You've got to be able to adapt, to the times. Are we disappointed? Not at all. We're probably disappointed coming third, because we're all going to be disappointed. We're disappointed that, we started the season last year losing at home to Liverpool and going out the Champions League to Paris. But, again, with the management, Jonas knows what he's got to do. The girls know what they've got to do. The hierarchy at Arsenal, they know, what's best. And I fully expect us to go and challenge next year. Hopefully we can start the season off a little better and go and win the WSL, because that's what everything's geared for. The pitch here, the stadium here, everything at the Emirates. We're all part of women's football. And as I say, I've been a part of that for over 25 years, and they're our girls, and we want them to be successful.
Yeah. Then we'll conclude this interview bringing it back to Boreham Wood, and obviously the season coming up. Obviously, it's a new venture for a lot of the staff here and the players, and I'm sure for the supporters as well. Have you just got a message for them going into next season?
Back us. I'll back you, but you've got to come here. You've got to buy your season tickets. You've got to turn up. We've got to turn this place into a place which, will play a brand of football that you want to see. But you've also got to give us that support to show us that you want to be in the National League. There's no point turning up with 500 and then demanding we have National League football. We've got to show that our support base has got to rise. You've got a chairman that is totally invested in the club and in the town and in our structures and in our community, in our schools. But we've got to do our bit, but they've got to do theirs. So the message is, again, if you look at it, whether it's the free replica shirts, pick your season ticket up, and let's start the season well. Whether it's your season tickets that give you your free pre-season games, get them done, get them picked up. We'll see you in pre-season. We want to take a positivity. We know what the negative was. It's done now. But what about the positive for 3,000 people being here on the last day of the season? They couldn't have done any more. If we can replicate that positivity when we're dealing with that type of pain, and we take that into this season, we're going to be formidable. We're going to have a target on our back. Every team's going to want to come here. They're going to see that pitch. It's going to be the best pitch in the league. We've just got to be the best team in the league. And that takes hard work, humbleness, and us respecting that there's a lot of good teams and a lot of good clubs in this league. And if you win titles, and I've won titles, you know, I mean, there's not many chairmen that have had 4 promotions. There's not many chairmen that have walked their club of our size, you know, up Wembley Way. There's not many teams that have gone and knocked out of Bournemouth and looked at, you know, their club in the last 16 of the FA Cup. And so there's so many memories. We've got to create new memories now. You know, we've got to look behind and remember what we've done, but we've now got to look forward and see what the future holds. I don't want to sit on the back of the bus. I want to drive the bus. I want to be a winner, and I want to play winning football. So my message is, come and help us, because we're not going to be able to do it on our own, that's for sure. And I don't want to feel isolated. So hopefully I'll see them there this season. And if they do, I'll be doing everything I can to give us a facility and a budget that will allow us to have a shot at getting back in the National League.